This is another video for the course Sparta Society to the Battle of Leuctra, and we're looking at Spartan cultural life and the dot point Greek writers' views on Sparta. If we have a look at the syllabus here, we can see it's the last dot point in the section on Spartan cultural life. It is different to the other three dot points because the other three dot points deal with the cultural achievements of the Spartans, so their writing, their literature, their art, architecture, things that they built or made or crafted or wrote. Whereas this dot point is about how Sparta was viewed by other Greek writers at the time and a little bit later. So it is a little bit different, and if you're asked a question on Spartan cultural achievements, you're more likely to talk about the first three dot points than this one because it is a bit of a standalone dot point that's been placed here because there's no other logical place to put it in the syllabus, because it's not about the Spartans' cultural achievements, it's about how Sparta was viewed by these external Greek writers who were not Spartiates. And this is a dot point that often gets confused with the third dot point there, writing and literature, which is the Spartans' own writing and literature, whereas this is about other Greeks who were not Spartiates who were writing about Sparta and their opinions about Sparta, and we need to learn why they held those opinions and what those opinions were. So we can see we have a number of writers that we need to discuss. The first one is Herodotus, the next one is Thucydides, Xenophon, Aristotle, Pausanias, and Plutarch. So it's quite clear that this could potentially be a 15-mark response because there are quite a few of these that we need to talk about. There's 6 listed there that you need to know and be able to discuss, and that would easily be a 15-mark response. We're going to add an extra one in here who is Plato, and we discuss him because he also gives us a little bit of information about Sparta and writes a little bit about Sparta as well. So this just fleshes out and adds a little bit more to our response. So in relation to all of these writers, we need to look at what the problems are with the evidence for each of these writers. And that is that they all had their own preconceived ideas about what Sparta was like. They all had inherent biases due to their background and their context and how that's has transformed their feelings about Sparta. They're all influenced by those who went before them and wrote before them. Sparta, we need to understand, was very much isolationist in its policy. It didn't really talk to other people about what it was like itself, and it wasn't really open to outsiders coming in and to investigate them. We also need to understand that the writers are writing at very different time periods, and many of them much later than when the Spartans were in their golden age, and indeed well and truly after the collapse of the Spartan society as we know it. And we need to realize that they're either writing because they're kind of condemning Sparta, or they didn't really approve of the Spartan way of life, or they're writing because they really quite admired aspects of Sparta, and that's what comes across in most of the writings of each of these writers. So this is a bit of an introduction video, and then what I'll do is I'll do some very short videos on each of the writers who wrote about Sparta, with a bit of an overview of who they were and what they wrote about and the problems with their writing.